What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chi with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's military said on Monday that 71 Chinese warplanes were spotted in waters around the country, the largest incursion ever reported. Among the group of planes, 47 were tracked breaching Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. This is not Taiwan's airspace, but the zone serves as a security buffer for defense purposes. More than 40 fighter jets, 3 radar planes, and 2 drones were tracked in the ADIZ. Over 37 of those planes crossed the median line of the Taiwan Straits, an unofficial boundary between China and Taiwan. The urgent comes just days after the U.S. signed its National Defense Authorization Act, which earmarked $10 billion in loans for Taiwan to modernize its defense capabilities. For more on the incursion and the defense bill, our reporter Jaime Ocon spoke to Ben Lewis, an independent defense analyst based in Washington, D.C.
The United States has signed this National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, which includes almost $10 billion for funding for Taiwan to modernize its forces. How significant is this?
I think it's quite significant. I mean, major parts of $2 billion of the fund is in loans. So Taiwan will be able to expedite its weapons acquisition, which I think is very significant. And then just the amount of money we're talking about, that's a lot of capabilities that Taiwan can acquire. And I think it's definitely the right move by both the United States and Taiwan to have agreed on something like this. And for it to come at this time when Taiwan needs to be acquiring these capabilities because the PLA is acquiring capabilities. So I think it's very significant, and I think it's really a step in the right direction in the U.S.-Taiwan relationship.
China's government released a statement saying that they disapprove of this collusion between the United States and Taiwan. And how have you seen China react so far?
China's reaction has been pretty significant, in my opinion. I mean, despite, in addition to the strong words, there's been a major military exercise somewhere in the Taiwan Strait area, we don't know where, involving naval and air assets. And then today, 71 aircraft were tracked around Taiwan, and 47 of those aircraft were tracked inside the ADIZ, which is the third highest number in one day on record, and it's the highest number in one day since August of 2022. Another note about the ADIZ violations today was we had the highest number of median line crossings in one day. So we had 37 median line crossings out of the 47 aircraft. So that was a large number of median line violations, mostly fighter aircraft. In addition, we had special mission support aircraft and 2 UAVs counted among. So a diverse set, not as diverse as we had last week, but a large number and definitely a notable fact that it was such a large number of median line violations.
What specifically do you think upset China the most about this Defense Authorization Act?
Well, I don't think it was the money. I think it was the fact that the bill opens up for Indo-PACOM to conduct multilateral military exercises with Taiwan, multi-domain military exercises. It talks about inviting Taiwan to Rim of the Pacific in 2024. In addition to providing funds, it puts the Taiwan-U.S. relationship front and center for America's priorities in the region. And that's a very dramatic shift. And I think it's something China is definitely concerned about, because that means that if this relationship continues to develop, President Biden has said America will come to Taiwan's defense. It seems as if China's going to have to calculate, okay, if I choose to invade Taiwan, I may be fighting the United States, I may be fighting Japan, I may be fighting South Korea or Australia. That increases the risk. It increases the needed capabilities. It increases the cost. And so China, I mean, if I was China, I'd be unhappy too, quite frankly.
That was our reporter Jaime Ocon speaking to Ben Lewis, an independent defense analyst based in Washington, D.C. President Tsai Ing-wen may be about to announce extended military conscription periods. She is scheduled to hold a meeting on the subject with national security officials on Tuesday. An announcement could be made shortly after. Her administration has been considering increasing mandatory military service for young men from the current 4 months to 1 year. The military recently also announced extended, more intensive basic training for recruits. These measures are in response to China's increased military threats against Taiwan. The head of Taiwan's main opposition party has criticized the government for upholding travel restrictions between outlying Taiwanese islands and China. Direct trade, post and transport services between the Kinmen and Matsu Islands and China were halted in 2020 because of the pandemic. Ahead of the Lunar New Year, there have been calls for the ruling Democratic Progressive Party to reopen the links. Taiwan has recently relaxed many other pandemic border restrictions, but citing rising COVID infections in China, the government is only opening travel services to residents of the outlying islands. This prompted criticism from the opposition Kuomintang. Its head Eric Zhu said the restrictions would stop people living in China from coming back to Taiwan for the holidays. Large sections of the Taiwanese countryside are covered in forested areas. It's the Forestry Bureau's job to maintain these woodlands, which includes cutting down some of the trees so forests won't become overburdened. Eric Gao looks at how some of these chopped down trees are now being used and turned into useful products.
Every year, workers like these cut down thousands of trees in forests across Taiwan. Their work is part of forest thinning efforts by the government to help keep the nation's woodlands healthy. Normally, most of the downed trees are left to decompose where they fall. But recently, authorities have been working with a local university to make better use of these natural resources.
它伐采下来，大约会有30%左右的林业剩余的资材可以去做运用。
This biocharcoal, or biochar, is created by heating up wood in an oxygen-free environment. It has a range of uses, from being added to animal feed to capturing carbon. It can also boost agricultural efforts.
调试这个土壤的这个功效，让植物长得更好。那起码在整个放进去的结果的话，可以增加你植物的生长的产量大概5%。
Around 200,000 tons of trees are being turned into biochar each year. The government hopes to increase this number to 1 million, turning these downed trees into upcycled products. As Naya Zhou and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's national archery team has claimed numerous victories at major world events. The team won 5 medals at the 2022 Asian Cup and World Ranking Tournament in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. The Taiwanese women's team beat Mongolia and Vietnam en route to the gold medal, which matched against South Korea, which they won by a score of 6-2 to claim gold. Taiwan's mixed doubles team also earned the top prize, beating India 5-3 in the final. In international news, China's top health authorities say they have stopped publishing daily COVID-19 infection and death numbers. Reporting has now been delegated to a sub-agency which normally produces reports on infectious diseases once a month. The move comes amid a nationwide surge in cases after Beijing drops its zero-COVID approach to pandemic control. Some Chinese provinces are reporting up to 1 million new COVID cases a day. Experts warn that the outbreak could lead to over 1 million deaths in the country. The man accused of killing former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is competent enough to stand trial. That's according to Japanese prosecutors. 42-year-old Tetsuya Yamagami was apprehended after Abe was shot with a homemade firearm in July. Abe was giving a public speech in support of the member of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party in the city of Nara at the time. Local prosecutors carried out a psychiatric evaluation to determine whether Yamagami was mentally fit to stand trial. His detention for medical examination will end on January 10th, after which he is expected to be indicted. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of capybaras taking a bath with yuzu fruit at Japanese zoo. I'm Sandy Chi. Take care and see you next time. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus. For more great news from Taiwan and around the world, download the TaiwanPlus app.